Dying is not the problem here. It's what the game expects you to learn from it. That's the kind of experience Saros is aiming for, and if you've played anything from Housemarque before, you already have an idea of what that means. Fast, punishing, and built around repetition that's supposed to make you better every single time. It releases April 30th, 2026, and right away, this isn't trying to be a relaxed experience. This is one of those games where failure is part of the design, not something you avoid. And I'll be honest, I kind of like challenging games, up to a point. Like, I enjoy the process of getting better, learning patterns, improving runs. But if I'm dying over and over and not even getting close to progress, yeah, that's where it starts to test my patience. And this feels like exactly that kind of game. So here's what you need to know before jumping in. At its core, Saros looks like a roguelike shooter with strong narrative elements layered on top. You're stuck in this looping cycle, exploring a constantly shifting environment, fighting enemies, collecting upgrades, and trying to push further each time. And the key word there is looping. Because progression here isn't just about skill, it's also about how the game evolves between runs. And that's where one of the biggest positives comes in. Unlike some roguelikes where every death feels like a reset to zero, Saros seems to keep certain elements persistent. Your character evolves, the world changes, and there's a sense that each run actually matters in a broader progression system. If that's done well, it solves one of the biggest frustrations people have with this genre, that feeling of wasting time after a bad run. But at the same time, it depends on balance. Because if progression feels too slow, or if upgrades don't feel impactful enough, then you're still stuck repeating the same loop without a strong sense of growth. And that's where a lot of players drop off. Now, let's talk about gameplay. This is Housemarque, so movement and combat are expected to be tight, responsive, and fast. Dodging, aiming, positioning, everything needs to feel precise because the difficulty is built around that, and that's usually a strength for them. When it works, it feels incredible, like you're in control even in chaotic situations. But when it doesn't, when things feel slightly off or overwhelming in a way that doesn't feel fair, that's when frustration kicks in. And with a game like this, fairness is everything. Another thing worth mentioning is the atmosphere. From what we've seen, Saros leans into a darker, more mysterious tone, not just visually, but narratively. There's clearly a story here, something deeper behind the loop, something you're slowly uncovering over time. And I like that, because it gives purpose to the repetition. You're not just playing for the sake of getting further, you're trying to understand what's actually going on. But again, there's a risk. If the story is too vague or too slow to reveal itself, some players might lose interest before it fully develops. And then there's the difficulty curve. This is probably the biggest deciding factor, because this game is not going to hold your hand. You're expected to fail, adapt, and improve. And like I said earlier, I'm into that, but only up to a certain point. If I'm dying a lot, but I can feel myself getting better, that's great. If I'm dying a lot and I feel stuck, like I'm not progressing at all, that's when it becomes frustrating instead of rewarding. So this is definitely one of those games where your tolerance for difficulty really matters. Now, let's be real about expectations. Housemarque has a strong reputation for this kind of gameplay. Fast-paced, challenging, arcade-style experiences with modern systems layered on top. But every new game still needs to prove itself. Because even small issues in pacing, progression, or difficulty balance can completely change how the experience feels. So here's the honest takeaway. You should consider buying Saros if you enjoy challenging games, if you like rogue-like systems where repetition is part of the design, and if you're okay with failing a lot in order to improve. Especially if you're someone who enjoys that just one more run kind of loop. And yeah, I'll definitely be playing this, even if it means dying more times than I'd like to admit. But you might want to wait if you get frustrated easily, if you prefer more consistent progression, or if you don't enjoy repeating sections of a game. Because this is not going to be a smooth ride, it's going to push you, and whether that's a good thing or not depends entirely on you. So from here, I'm stepping back. No commentary, just gameplay. Watch how it flows, how punishing it feels, how rewarding it looks when things finally click. Because with a game like this, that's what really matters.